Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Everyday Bitcoin, a younger Bitcoin podcast focusing on Bitcoin's use as money and its adoption. So there's no macro talk here, there's no price talk here, just talking about Bitcoin as money and chatting with people that are pushing fighting the good fight about adoption and just facilitating how everybody could use it in their everyday lives. Coming at you today, recording on February 18th, 2026, about block height 937,279 at a current exchange rate with the US dollar of about $66,100. Price has been up, it's been down, doesn't really matter. What does matter is that I'm here today with a friend of mine, Julian Figueroa. Julian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Keith. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. I think we've been trying to make this happen maybe about a month now or a couple weeks. So I'm glad we're finally here. And so you are involved, I guess, well, definitely with one company called Get Based. But so I guess I was gonna say your channel, the exit manual, is also kind of like it's underneath Get Based, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So then, are you able to explain a little bit? Well, I guess before we get into Get Based, just a little bit about your Bitcoin journey and like how you found it and what brings you here today.
Speed run time, baby. 2013, wanted to buy drugs on the internet. Couldn't do it with cash. Found Bitcoin. Used Bitcoin to buy said drugs on internet. Ignored that Bitcoin for 3 years. Woke up in 2016. Realized that it went up a bunch and I probably shouldn't have spent so much on drugs. Decided to look into it deeper. Put in every last ounce of student loans I didn't spend on university. That allowed me to basically start my own business in video production. Did that for quite a few years. And then in 2018, 2019, I got rug pulled for 80% or so of my Bitcoin. Decided to make a YouTube video as therapy. I'm speedrunning it. Decided to make a YouTube video as therapy. Made YouTube videos off the side of my desk for 3, 4, 5 years. And then decided to start getting into some more serious filmmaking, documentary work. Met Isabella through this, just a random DM. I was going to do a documentary. Said, hey, you want to come do it? We do this documentary, and then we decide, let's do a full-on Bitcoin media company. Partnered up with my other friend Adam O'Brien, who runs Bitcoin Well, one of the biggest Bitcoin publicly traded companies in Canada. And here we are, 2 years. Ooh, is it 2 years? Yeah, it's 2 years into this journey of going all in on Bitcoin and, in a broader sense, sovereignty based media. So the stuff that we do, if you haven't watched the show, Exit Manual, is sort of like an edutainment style look into the world of Bitcoin. You got Isabella has BTC Isla, it's like the sister show.
Mhm.
Soon enough, Adam will have his own version of a show, except
Oh,
his will actually be about Christianity, not about Bitcoin. And from there, who knows? We're always looking for more talent.
oh, that's super cool. And what year did you say you were buying drugs with Bitcoin?
2013.
2013. Okay.
2013, yeah.
Wow. And then it was 2016 that you realized
Yeah, I was
maybe
like, "Oh, could be something cool here."
2013, way back when. I was
Yeah.
heavily at the time heavily involved with, I guess, RuneScape. And I was like actually an admin on an online community that was quite large actually. And I think about that sometimes. I still wonder how it was possible. I never came across Bitcoin back then because
Didn't people use it in, like, some MMOs? I remember there was this, like, one MMO I saw screenshots of, and people were like, "I just bought this sword for 860 Bitcoin." It was
oh
like
my
10
god.
cents.
Yeah. I think I definitely definitely at the time for sure. I don't know how I just never like had direct because I had like tons of friends all over the world via RuneScape that I would be in constant contact with, and obviously we're kind of the nerdy bunch, so I'm just like surprised that
Hmm.
nobody, at least that I never heard about it. Or could have been. But alrighty. So 2013, 2016. And when did you say you first did the, because I definitely, because for those that are listening who don't know, I also know both the people mentioned, Isa and Adam. And yes. So when did you say you and Isa first did that video?
We met in person for the first time in December of 2023, and then right after filming that documentary, January 2024, we said, "Let's do this as a media company."
Okay.
So we bootstrapped it. We messed around. We didn't quite figure out what shows to do or like what to really do in the first year. We were just kind of actually just operating like a boutique video agency. Sorry, my stupid phone. Um, and then Isabella started her kind of like main BTC Isla show August of 2024. And then a whole year later of like learning the ins and outs of long form YouTube, we did another show with Adam, but it wasn't quite like a big thing. We decided, hey, let's do Exit Manual. Let's do its own channel too. That was a big unlock for us. Is we thought in the beginning, let's just stick everything on this get based channel. It's not how people consume media anymore. That was like a 2017, 2018 relic, this idea of media channels. Everything is about personalities now. And you can have a company that just owns multiple channels, but people only want to see one specific type of content per channel.
Okay.
But yeah, we've learned a lot. And yeah, the real YouTube journey, I think, started with Isabella's show in August 24. And then my show launched last year, end of August 25. And Adams is coming very soon. I'm hoping in March 26th.
Ooh. And you said that was no Bitcoin whatsoever, or just like heavy Christianity?
Basically, no Bitcoin. We'll see. Like YouTube really rewards narrowing perspective down to a single niche because the way that the YouTube algorithm works, if we want to talk some inside baseball here, is that
Sure.
the algorithm kind of understands a ranking system for each topic or each kind of like interest point. And so if you start making videos about Bitcoin, the algorithm will look at your video. It'll look at what is the retention, what is the click through rate on your thumbnail, what is maybe the overall quality of the video. And it'll give it some type of internal score that you and I don't know. And
Mm.
that score will dictate how many times it decides to throw it on someone's front page or up next or suggested video tab. You keep, scoring higher on all those metrics, click through, viewer retention, holding retention, not having it like peel off, all these different like little internal metrics. I don't know how they're weighed, but that's how algorithms work is they just give everything a score. If you do well enough on the score, you just start getting pushed. And so yeah, essentially, we've been in this long process of learning all the different elements, which ones we have an instinctual feel for being weighed more than others, and we're finding that sweet point of like, how do we satisfy this, and then also satisfy our own creative vision and our own thesis and our own voice and opinions on certain things. And yeah, when people ask like, "How'd you do it?" It's like it's just like it's a game of it's like a sport. You got to analyze all the chess moves, right?
Yeah.
Every single turn you take in chess. There's like the number one best move you could make, and then there's like the second best move you could make, and then the third best, and the fourth, and it's hard to sometimes take the first best move every single time because it opens up a whole other web of possibilities, and it's expensive sometimes to take the first move, but you balance it, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have a little bit of experience with YouTube. I mean, I still have a channel, but I'm not active on it. But I was able to get up to like 1,600 subscribers. I was more so
Oh well.
active right after the pandemic, but then last 2 years, not really. But yeah, it was always frustrating to feel like I was always slightly torn. But I think ultimately, well, I guess slightly torn between doing exactly what I wanted to do, but then also trying to please the algorithm. Then I
Mhm.
guess in a certain sense, if you do what you want to do, ideally the people will come to you. But then obviously it's up to the platform to also make you visible. So
Yeah.
do you ever find yourselves revising what you maybe wanted to do, or maybe not, I don't want to say holding back, but potentially just changing, I guess, a script because you think that the algorithm won't play nice with you?
Yeah, all the time. But I like to sometimes like swap out the word algorithm for just audience. Like we know the types of people that watch our videos. Like if we make this choice, will these people who don't know who we are, will they bounce? Like, am I doing something to someone who doesn't know me that hurts my credibility? So there's this balance. I think when we start our channels, we're aiming for like the biggest swath of people possible. We're constantly like introducing ourselves in those first few videos because nobody knows who we are. We have to start
Yeah.
very humble and just assume that no one gives a shit. And we have to, by the end of the video, prove ourselves, give something like entertainment value or educational value by the end of the video. If you don't entertain someone or you don't educate them, then they're just not going to come back for more. But you get a few reps in, you build that credibility that like, okay, this guy's going to deliver on this front every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every day. Um, you build that support base, and then you get this floor, like the Bitcoin price floor, that people will just show up and and then you can ease on the gas a little bit and because it's an input output thing. It depends what you want to maximize. Like right now, I still really want to gun for like 100, 200K, but I know that the Bitcoin niche has very few channels that big. And so I have to make this decision. Am I just going to grind out to get those 100, 200K from, simply Bitcoin and Bitcoin Magazine subscribers? Or am I going
Uh-huh.
to try and get, I'm at 37. Am I going to try and get the other, 63 that I need? Am I going to try and get them from other niches? Um, that opens up the possibility of alienating my current audience. And so you have to kind of like bridge a little bit between genres, and there's a lot of things to consider, but ultimately, like, I want to get to this point where I can just develop some like deeper relationships with my current viewership, and really ask them too. It's like, what do you want to see from me? I mean, I'm an actor. Like, this is my thing. Some people are not, performative males like I am. I like to kind of be crazy. I like to entertain people. I like to always challenge myself creatively in videos too, and really push like what on earth can we actually pull off in 1 week? Because that's the only commitment I really have, is it's got to be every single week, and it should hopefully be better than the last video. From there, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And I definitely, what you said earlier about it being about personalities, that I also learned that more so when I stopped being so active with my channel, because I just realized with my own viewing habits that and like you said, building the base, like the Bitcoin floor,
Mhm.
um, that the people that I subscribe to and that I follow, like if they put a video out, I'm gonna watch it just because, like you said, I like the person or the personality. I like the content. I know it's gonna at least be like their standard. So like I know I won't be wasting my time even just
Mhm.
clicking on the video. So yeah, what you said makes a lot of sense. And when did you start Get Based? Because you're growing like super fast on Get, or not, sorry, not Get Based. The exit manual. When did you start that again?
The exit manual was started end of August last year.
Wow. Okay. And you're already at 37, 38, you said, thousand?
Yeah, like, just for context too, like, everyone thinks that this is like, maybe a game of luck or whatever. I like the Get Base channel, which is like the OG channel. It was called Kinetic Finance for a while. It was 3 years for me to get to 1,000. And I was putting out like a video every 2 weeks for a while on there. It took 3 years for me to get to 1,000 because I just like, I didn't know what I was doing. I only made what I wanted to make. I
Uh-huh.
didn't really care for the audience. I was like, this is what I feel people need to know. This is like a random topic I want to talk about. It was like very like egocentric, and it was like, screw the algorithm. I want to do my thing. It's like, okay, well, I got what I gunned for. Every now and then I had one video pop off, but there was no consistency, and therefore like an audience didn't form. And so it takes a while to learn sometimes from that stuff, but we realized like, okay, before we even started Get Base, we were like, who is the demographic for this? Like, what do we want to do? Okay, we're gonna do something a little bit different, because the main Bitcoin viewership audience that we found, it's 35 to 45. That's like the core. We think that the older you are, the less, in some ways, the less patient you are with compounding returns. You're like 15 years away from retirement, or 20 versus 30 or 40. Um, I I had a feeling, I was like, this Bitcoin thing is going to go on a long time, right? If I cultivate a whole bunch of people who are in their upper 40s and we have like a bear year, they're all going to be like, screw you. You
Mhm.
just like, you go to me into this thing. I'm not going to wait. Like, I gotta get on with my life. But if we focus on Gen Z, who are coming out fresh, their whole world is being rattled right now with the job market. So they have to be open minded, just because
Yeah.
none of the old rules work. Then we can start with like a good cohort of people that will sit through whatever the price of Bitcoin does, and hopefully also be interested in other topics. So we really like planned that out. We knew that no matter what I do, it's probably going to be male leaning. It's very like INTJ, big picture, macro. So we're like, okay, we'll consider the average viewer is probably going to be male. They're going to be between hopefully 25 to 34. We're going to like aim for that, maybe even a little bit younger. What do these people want to see? Are they looking for guidance? Like, where are they? Like, how much money are they making? What side of the states or Canada are they living in? And then, we have that little guy, we'll call him Ben because there's just a lot of Bens in our space. But we made this whole audience avatar and we said, hey, that's like, these are who the videos are for. Like, we need to get 100,000 of these Bens. And we know that 100,000 are out there.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just like every time we write something, we ask, like, is Ben going to watch this? Right? Like, would he
Mm,
be interested in this video? Or is this totally off base out of his interests? But yeah,
okay. That's
so
interesting.
we did differently.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting to hear the insight of the, I guess, more so the creator, and how they approach all this.
Yeah.
But so far, um, I guess would be the biggest hurdle you faced in, well, I guess what the exit manual more so focused on that first. Yeah.
The
What's
exit
been the
manual?
biggest the hurdle? Because you're going really fast, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's we've always had this idea from the start that we were gonna lead with Bitcoin because that was like what I knew the best, and I also know what my competition is, which is people doing the desk videos, or kind
Uh
of
huh.
like news. And we thought, okay, we know that BTC Isla proved that people love this like different style of Bitcoin content where it's like outdoors and a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it's more storytelling. So like we proved that there was demand there. And so we were like, okay, how do I basically just recreate what Issa's doing? But I'm gonna put my unique flair on it. What's my unique flair? It's like I'm a lot more autistic than Isabella is. I will obsess over very particular details. I also have like kind of a darker sense of humor, and I love watching that stuff, like Danny Gonzalez and Drew Gooden and Eddie Burback and like all these like, upstart like self-made YouTube comedians, Trevor Wallace. And I thought, hey, like I used to do this stuff in school plays, so like let's inject that in there.
Yeah.
um, in terms of what's been the hardest has been we've had like a lot of easy wins. Like we really knew out the gate these first 10 videos that came out on the channel, like the intro, the hidden tax that rich people pay, the 100, like we planned this all out, months ahead of time, like what these first 5, 10 were going to be.
Uh
From there, we're like, okay, this did way better than we expected. I wasn't expecting to start pivoting into like other forms of topics probably until like a year or like a year and a half in. And now we're realizing, hey, not only is the Bitcoin price sucking, so general interest in Bitcoin is down, but we have this like big subscriber base that we've built trust with in a relatively like quick period of time. We should take some more risks with other topics. The challenge has just been figuring out like, well, what other stuff outside the Bitcoin and finance realm really appeals to this group of people? What appeals to Ben? What like I don't want to do something random. Like I can't start talking about Pokemon, even though I'm a huge like Pokemon
yeah.
fan. They're not gonna find interest in that. I don't know if I could talk about like pop culture, like movies, like, but okay, maybe Ben's interested in like technology in general. And then one of the rabbit holes I found myself going down, and you put feelers out there, like you use Twitter and you use these other platforms to put feelers out there, is stoicism. I know that a lot of Bitcoiners are really big readers. Like you kind of have to be. You're going through all
Yeah.
these books, and you got a bookshelf behind you. I don't know. Do you know about the Stoics?
Of course. I have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius behind me.
Beautiful. You're gonna love this week's episode. So it took me a little while to realize, like, oh damn, there's actually a really big overlap in interest between that topic and that kind of like framing and Bitcoin. And so we did like a whole episode of this. I teased it in the last one. I brought some Marcus Aurelius in, and then this episode is called "If You Don't Understand Stoicism, You Don't Understand Bitcoin."
Ooh.
And we're like super excited to see how that does, because I think there's a potential to pull non-Bitcoiners that are just stoics that like kind of know a little bit about Bitcoin, like interest them in the topic, because there's this whole stoic niche on YouTube. And then
Yeah.
I think we'll still be able to like get that good floor of Bitcoiners who will just watch, the next Bitcoin video I make. So it's figuring out those things. We call them bridging videos. Those have been like the most challenging ones because it just takes like a lot of walking around and doing some data cross checking to kind of figure it out. We're trying to figure out right now for Isabella's channel. She's super fit. They have like a gym down there in Isla Mujeres.
Yeah.
We know that Bitcoiners do care a lot about health. The question that we're just trying to figure out is like, are they actually watching health and fitness content, or are they just doing their own thing? Do they care more about diet or do they care about workouts? And so we're thinking like that's probably her bridge. That's her like next closest interest, and maybe there's alignment there with the Bitcoiners. But it's those bridging videos, those are the hardest things I would say so far in figuring it out. But it's stuff you got to do in the bear market, right? We
Yeah.
can't talk about like the world's best inflation hedge when our 5 year compound annual return is like 8% or less. So
Yeah.
it won't be like that forever, but you got to build a
Of course
business
not.
and yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. A lot of insight and things I never really kind of realized or thought about. At least my opinion would be that Bitcoiners would probably be more interested in, um, well, obviously health, but I guess like exercise and workout stuff and not diet. I feel like a
Mm.
lot of
No,
Bitcoiners,
just eat steak, right?
exactly. I feel like a lot of Bitcoiners are already like already set in their ways diet wise, whether it be the like a strict carnivore diet or obviously prioritizing whole foods, not processed garbage and eating meat, blah blah blah. But I feel like at least my 2 cents would be probably more interested in what they can do physically. Um, but that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it seemed like definitely at the beginning of the of Isa's channel, there was a lot of crossover into what's actually happening on the island specifically.
Mhm.
But I feel like of late it is now, well, obviously using the island and the community there as the backdrop for everything. But I feel
Yeah.
like it's more so you guys have been venturing more to a general Bitcoin content topic and less specifically having content that relates directly to the island. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, yeah, and this is a really good, like, strategic thing that we figured out, I would say, about 6 months into our channel, and it was that there just isn't a lot of interest in watching the circular economy/ slash spending Bitcoin thing. We thought it was a really interesting story as Bitcoiners.
Yeah,
It
I
really
do.
has 0 appeal outside.
Oh
And even
no,
within Bitcoiners, like, the people who are there to see it as, like, digital gold, like, they just don't give a shit because
they don't
it's sort
care.
of, like, against their worldview. And so it's really important that we do these things. Like, it's very important that we, create circular economies and, spend Bitcoin, and I'm a huge advocate for it even in these, like, non-circular economy videos, like I'm always saying, like, "Go spend it." Like, we gotta use this shit. But in terms of like a lead magnet, it just doesn't work. Like it's just there isn't like a market for, oh crap, I want to see Bitcoin being spent in this country. It's not to say like the content's bad or anything. Like Joe Nakamoto does like the best videos going around. But I think what he's seen himself lately is that there's a lot more interest in people learning about Bitcoin mining in other countries than Bitcoin economies in other countries. Right. Like his videos
Mm,
on Bitcoin mines in Iceland or Africa or whatever, those get way more views than like here's a guy that lives on Bitcoin or a town that lives on Bitcoin. Like these people just you just have the data to know where people go, and you have to follow that to an extent as a creator. It's not to say that oh, I got to sell out to whatever the audience wants to make, but you can't force people to be interested in what you're interested in. You've got to find like a proven market, and right now it's just not a big enough phenomena that people will just watch that you know,
yeah,
people spending Bitcoin.
that makes sense. And
However, however, that's not to say that I don't have a massive spending Bitcoin video thing in the works, that
whoa,
we think is actually gonna get, like, a ton of views outside the Bitcoin niche, but I will leave it at
nice.
that.
I'm excited for that. Super excited for that. And you're totally right that at least I'm not sure exactly how much you use it like every day, but me like full Bitcoin standard, like use it as much as I possibly can
Oh, wow.
as money. But I realize that I'm like very like point one of the 1% that truly
Yeah.
like do it that way. And I sometimes think the more people are like me, but then when I meet people in the real world, and like even I recently started a Bitcoin meetup. Um, Actually, we've had 2 meetups already, but nonetheless, I bring this up because like one of the people that came like didn't want to spend Bitcoin at the Bitcoin meetup, and I was like, why? I was like, what's the what are we doing? Like, I don't know. I just don't comprehend that. But I guess everyone's different.
Yeah.
Um, and have you like now that you have a base, base anyway, that you have obviously a viewership base and audience base. What's your take on what your, I guess, the general feel for your audience? Are people more so digital gold, hedging, or do you have a decent amount of base that is actually like hardcore Bitcoiner? If you even have like insight into that.
They're I don't think my base is super into, like, technical stuff with Bitcoin. I think there's a bit of crossover with Joe and Issa with like the Bitcoin standard people, but like again, like you said, it's 0.1% of like a small group of people, right? Like we've run the numbers. I would say there are maybe 150,000 to 200,000 people on planet Earth that consume more than 30 minutes of Bitcoin content a week. That's a
Really?
very I would estimate it. Like we like try and find a video that is not just like a Michael Saylor keynote that has over 150,000 views on YouTube that's like about using Bitcoin or what like the Bitcoin case is for 5 million or whatever. It's like you will not find those videos. So that kind of just tells you like that's the ceiling. There's about 150, 200,000 of us that are interested in macro or use cases or whatever on a regular basis. You're gonna find outliers, but that's like kind of the median. And so, in terms of my audience's interests, I've been really trying to talk to them in the way that I would talk to someone post Bitcoin standard, which is like, I don't want you to become hyper obsessed with Bitcoin. I don't want you to be looking at the price every single day. I don't want you to be thinking of like BIP 110 and quantum. Like, I'll make a little thing on it just to get the info out there. But like, I don't want you thinking about that. I want you to use it as a savings account and be excellent and like do really well in your community and be optimistic about the future. Like Bitcoin is just a springboard as it was for me to do the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to get my time back. I wanted to take some risks and Bitcoin allowed me to do that. And maybe when I got into it, I was lucky. And at the time I was able to capitalize on it very quickly. And it's been a bit harder recently where like you get people into Bitcoin and then they're all messaging me a year later and they're like, I'm down. How am I down? Like you were up after a year. What happened? And I say, hey, just keep buying and or live on it. And like like I'll buy it from you in 10 years if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm working hard. Like I know that I'm going to crush it and make money and I'm not going to change my thesis on it in 10 years. So it's like you go buy it today. If you really think like I'm just trying to sell you shit, like you can sell me your Bitcoin in 10 years. Like I'll be buying it in 10 years the same way that I'm buying it today. And I'm only preaching stuff that I actually do. It's like I have eliminated all other forms of savings. I got rid of my emergency fund that I had over COVID, and it's just like every penny that is not spent directly. Like I don't convert all my paychecks to Bitcoin because then if I spend the Bitcoin, I'm just taking like a needless 2% haircut. But anything that's a savings thing, it's like a one-way street. It just goes into Bitcoin. We keep stacking. And if I have something that is more important in my life than Bitcoin, then I spend it. At the same time, I want people to think of it like money. And I there's times where I actually find the utility of Bitcoin way easier than going out and like swapping currencies or spending my MasterCard in another country. There's a great medium of exchange use case for Bitcoin, which is like if you travel, it's like on your phone already. Like, but like half the places I go to, like they don't even take credit card. And I don't want to go to like, I don't want to carry paper. But if I'm going somewhere with a Bitcoin, circular economy, like I have a phone full of like 200, $300 of Bitcoin, like ready to go. It's my money. And then in the local economy, there are a ton of people that give me discounts if I pay with Bitcoin. So I'll do that too, right? Like I'll use it because that makes sense.
Oh, really?
Sorry, you're gonna say something. I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rambling, but
Your local.
yeah.
Well, two things. Why 2%? Is that like on the fee for the buying and selling? That you said
Yeah,
2%
yeah. It's
haircut.
like, okay, if I convert my paychecks into Bitcoin, yeah, like if I convert my whole thing, but I actually need to spend some of it, okay, I have to convert it. If I convert 100% of my paycheck into Bitcoin and then, I got to pay my rent, then I got to also sell it back into fiat because, like, I try my best to convince everyone to take Bitcoin, but you can't force
Yeah.
everyone to take it, right? So there's just times you need fiat. So I don't need to like, if I am trying to 100% live on the Bitcoin standard, like, I don't know, like, who am I trying to prove that to, right? Also, there are times where, like, I take out debt, and so I'm gonna have fiat because I live beyond my means sometimes, like, I'm trying not to, but sometimes you
Yeah.
do, and Bitcoin doesn't work, like, you can't, have a good credit score and buy Bitcoin with it, right? Like, you need fiat sometimes. That's the perk of the fiat system is sometimes you can use it and you can live outside your means, and you just do so responsibly, right?
Uh,
But yeah.
okay.
Like we like I'll give you an example, like Get Based, we didn't know what we were doing for a bit and we lost quite a bit of money and we were racking up losses, but we had like a little bit of a Bitcoin treasury and we took out a loan against it because if we didn't, someone was going to have to skip getting paid for the month or we'd have to lay someone off. And it was like, well, like we got to get some fiat in there. So thankfully we had that option. But yeah, life comes at you pretty quick. And the Bitcoin standard works. But right now, you still have to interact with the fiat system in order to live outside your means. Eventually, we'll be able to borrow Bitcoin against our Bitcoin, I guess, or maybe someone will just lend us Bitcoin on a reputation score. I have no idea. But right now, like we live in a debt-based system and, you know, no one's going to just lend me Bitcoin just because they like me. Right. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. I sometimes think similarly, at least in terms of like paying rent,
Yeah.
like because I mean, obviously I have to sell the Bitcoin to send a dollar payment.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think, well, why bother paying or why bother transferring it over to Bitcoin to begin with? But then I just think, well, in the event that there's a massive appreciation over the course of the month, I'll be happy that it was sitting there. Um,
Yeah.
but at times I do think similarly, like maybe I should do a little bit of my income into dollars and not just straight convert. But so far it's been fine. So far so good. But I obviously understand
Yeah.
people that choose not to or that feel safer not doing that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing I was going to mention was, do people like in your comments specifically? Has anyone ever reached out to you, like thanking you for like showing them the way or the exit, and getting into Bitcoin?
Not lately.
Not
Everybody who
lately.
bought when I made my first video is down like 40%. And I'm getting so much of that recently. And I'm like, okay, well,
Really?
I'll make a video to address it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, one day I'll be thanked for the gains, but it could be a little while, right? Like I just happen to make videos at the top, I guess. But like really from the start, the the promise was never you're gonna get rich quick. Like I keep pounding the drum on that. This is like a don't get poor slowly scheme, right?
Yeah,
You're
I love
getting poor
that.
fast right now, but you're not gonna get poor over the long run on this,
Mhm.
And again, if I'm wrong and we can all be totally wrong about all this stuff, I'm not shaken. Like I will die on this hill. And I said it in my last video too. It's just like if I'm wrong, you know, and Bitcoin goes to 0, it's like, cool, I'll own the whole thing. And then if it's still 0 after I own the whole thing, then I'll make it all back. Like you gotta have this like ruthless confidence to not get
Yeah,
shaken. For me, it's like the older you get, the riskier it is to put all this work and time that you've accumulated into something that you have no control over. But I've submitted to the fact that Bitcoin is going to do things I don't like. And I've also realized after 10 years, it is so much worse. The feeling of greed and like anxiety is so much worse for me when the price is going up than when it's going down. It took a little bit to flip it, but like, 5 or so years in, I was like, oh my God. I get like a lot more anxious and coulda, woulda, shoulda when the price goes up versus when it goes down
mhm,
because I earn in fiat. So I'm just getting more sats when it goes down. It's just a discount sale to me because my mindset is like locked that this is the money that I want. This is the money of the future. This is what I want to move my time and energy into. If I was flaky on the Bitcoin thesis, then yeah, I would look at like the drop as in like shit, I'm losing my fiat purchasing power, right? Like I should have more fiat at the end of this, but I'm not. But now I'm looking at it like great, I get more Bitcoin.
yeah,
The world still obviously doesn't understand this thing, and I have to be on the front lines to like see that very clearly. I talked to like 100 kids at university. They have no idea what Bitcoin's about, and they're all going to be starting jobs soon, and they're all going to be figuring out like, well, where do I put my money? um they're not buying gold, right? Like this is
yeah,
the internet generation, like they're going to figure it out. And so it's like, well, this is a blessing when the price goes down. So yeah, I just try not let myself get too rattled by that stuff, and then hopefully the audience just like understands that from my perspective.
uh-huh,
But the ultimate takeaway is like, look, if you yourself are like a vessel for earning, and you know what your superpower is, and you know how to enhance the world with your superpower, like the money will just gravitate towards you. It's like you become like a money vacuum or like a money magnet. Like I really believe if you have a superpower and you know how to give it to the world, you will find a very obvious and clear path to live a prosperous life.
Love that. I'm currently rethinking some life things, and yeah, I think switching things up. And really gonna try to find my way, how to make money in the Bitcoin space. So I want to contribute more to it, rather than
Well,
doing what
Keith,
it.
what is your superpower? What comes easy to you that is very hard to other people?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I have an obsessive personality, so whatever I like and find, I can't help but completely like dedicate my time to and learning as much as I possibly can. And the more I learn, the better I feel, and the more I want to learn to feel better. Um, People tell me I write well. Um, I feel like I have a lot of skills, but none are like uh superior than others, if that makes sense. But
Hmm.
it could just be my own bias of my own self, thinking I'm less than I am. I don't know. It's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to
Mhm.
like traditional things. Because unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, because I've had a great past decade in my current career, but like nothing I do in my current career can translate to pretty much anything else but the industry I work in and doing
Mhm.
what I do. So it's unfortunate now that I'm trying to look into Bitcoin. It's like none of these typical finance, engineering, developing, legal, traditional fields apply to me whatsoever. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to become a programmer because it's obvious that the future is AI and it'll just be senior devs commanding the AI. And that I'm not going to like, I don't know, go to law school to try to like work on a legal team as an entry position, like after a
Mhm.
bunch of debt. So it's kind of frustrating, but I'm hoping to find my way because it's become clear that I want to be contributing to the advancement of Bitcoin,
Mhm.
and like building towards something, dedicating my time and energy to a better cause than hanging lights in a very wasteful industry.
Yeah.
Um, which I love doing. It doesn't feel like work and I get paid well, but I don't know. Those are things I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the writing is a really, it's a really big one, and I think it's, like, similar to the coding thing. I did a video, about how Latin had this interesting progression where it was sort of like the default through Rome, and that was, like, the one language, and people got kind of sick of it because it just became almost like corporatized in some way. There's this very flat emotionlessness to the Latin language. And that's how all the other languages kind of like spurted out is like the French and the Italians and the Spanish and the English. Like they all have like very different ways of expressing emotion and what is a pejorative term in one language versus like the other. And AI is sort of holding up this mirror to the really uncreative people out there. And if you're a really good writer, you can very easily identify when something's written by an LLM because the way that they've, been designed, the predictive modeling of like the next word, the next sentence, it forces them to fall into cliches.
yeah,
The models like deteriorate over time, and then if all their source data is everyone writing the same, you get this version of English that just trends towards kind of what happened with Latin, and then from there. And so what I'm getting at with this is that if you are able to develop a very unique style of writing that you can find demand on,
mhm,
then I actually think everyone says, "Oh, it's a terrible time to be a writer because AI is writing all our emails." It's like, no, it's the opposite. Like, distinct writing is going to flourish, and it's going to be so easy to differentiate from AI slop,
yeah,
and people are going to be craving that stuff en masse. The same way that right now, like I don't think it's a trend, like, vinyl sales are at, like, 60s and 70s levels,
yeah,
and they've held that way now for, like, 6 years. Like, flip phone sales are up, like, there is this it's not like people are degrading back to, like, inferior technologies, but people want this sense of, like, sincerity and authenticity in everything. There's this
yeah,
huge demand for it, and AI is, like, creating this, like, massive, massive vacuum in authenticity, and so it just allows our, like, humanity to really be, even more of a superpower than it has been in the last forever.
Well
But
said. I
yeah.
agree. It is interesting. I feel like the AI has advanced so quickly, and at first everybody was kind of obsessed with it. Like, oh my god, look
Mm,
what AI can generate for me instantly. And but now, I guess it was a quick fad, and now that the novelty of it has worn off, and people
yeah.
realize that holy crap, the whole world around me is just becoming inauthentic slop, and it's like I want to actually focus on finding real human, um, well, one connection and two human-made things, whether it be
Yeah.
articles or a painting or a video or like obviously on my website. I originally like I have a large guide called Bitcoin is for everyone.
Yeah.
And I was using just regular AI images for my sections, but I recently commissioned a person on Noster to actually make hand drawn legit art for each section, and it's awesome.
That's
Love
super
it,
cool.
love
There you
it.
go.
Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
people are like, you could do it for free with AI, but it's like, yeah, but I'd rather like pay someone in Bitcoin to like
Yeah.
do their passion and get a great result and know that I'm helping the Bitcoin economy and supporting a fellow Bitcoiner and Nostr user and artist. So good stuff.
But like don't just look at it like it's not like a benevolence thing only. It's not like I need to support my human brethren. It's like there is a tangible aspect. There's like the problem with machines sometimes is they trend towards like entropy. And so it's
Hmm.
like either the result of an image is like completely predictable or it's like completely incomprehensible mess, which is why you get like the six fingers and like the characters on jars look weird and all that stuff. But there's something with like human work and it's the subconscious just taps into it. And so it's marketably better than whatever AI can produce because there's like a subconscious element that goes into the creation of human art that just LLMs cannot recreate, right?
Yeah.
There are very few happy accidents, I'll just say, with like AI generated art. It's like what you see is what you get, you know.
Yeah.
There's no thought. Like it's like when the only input is like three words in this like black box of data, it's like, can you really have subtleties?
No.
Not unless you tell the machine to have subtleties, right?
Yeah. And you
So
spend mass amounts of time prompting it. And
yeah,
it still won't really do what you want it to do. At least in my experience. It's
yeah.
like you can only prompt it so far and it just like gives you the same thing. It's like, okay, this is useless.
I'm a huge fan of AI. I love it. And so my take on it. Like, I don't like it when people just want it to do everything for you. But what I've found is like there are very specific things that you can get it to do in your creative process that
Mhm.
save you immense amounts of time. And like we need to view it more through that lens. Like, is this actually saving me time? And is that time saved like increasing the quality of my output? If so, then AI is a huge net benefit to everyone. And
Yes.
what the haters don't understand is like, hey, maybe I just need to make a freaking PowerPoint to sell a video idea. And like I would, if I had unlimited time, I would hand draw some art and put it in there. But frankly, one person is going to see it, and I want to give them a better picture of what's going on in my head. If AI can generate that, like that's a huge time save. That's a huge quality upgrade. There's other things that I do, like I've been experimenting a lot more with AI video in my exit manual episodes, like just random shit that I was like, bro, if I had $1 million and a team of VFX artists, I would do this.
Yeah.
Now I can do it with AI. So why not mess around? Like, I want to pat myself on the back, but like we did this whole episode in the Renaissance. And it's sort of like, yeah, I could talk about it, but it would be really fun to show it, and maybe we can have some fun with it. And we're like, okay, we'll make a couple of AI images, but instead of it making it feel like robotic and generated, like let's give it this like human feel. And you can get these filters so that things move at like 12 FPS and it feels like a little paper slideshow. And it's not a common AI art style. Like usually the AI art styles that you see, everything is very slick and kind of like spongy looking. But there's a whole bunch of ways you can use this stuff to make it feel very tactile. And yes, if some people know it's AI, that's fine. But there's going to be a cohort of people that don't actually think it's AI at all because they haven't seen that art style. But with
Yeah.
the tools, you can do something novel. And then last point on this, like it's not a zero sum game. Henry Cavill, when he was in the Superman Justice League movie, he was also shooting Mission Impossible. He had a mustache. They spent $3 million on a team of dozens of VFX artists to get rid of that mustache. This is only
Oh
like
my god.
6 years ago. It's a 30-cent prompt now. And
Yeah.
guess what? If you fucked up on your indie film with the same thing, your indie film of like 10 grand, you can hire some kid in Pakistan and he can remove the mustache for 30 cents now. Like that's so cool. Job created, everybody's work gets better and it's great. And it's like, yeah, you can make crappy content with it, sure, but oh my god, does it open up a world of possibilities that we've never had before.
Mhm.
It's like, I remember there was this saying a couple years ago, it's like, "Ideas are cheap, execution's what matters." Totally inverted. Ideas are, like, so valuable, execution's never been freaking easier, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I would agree. As long as the idea is there. And plus, when you have a good idea, you could always reiterate on it and also
Mhm.
develop it further. But if the idea
Exactly.
sucks, then the end
Yeah.
result's not going to be as good. I definitely need to, I don't want to say get better, but get better at AI, or I guess
Yeah.
finding more use cases. And now's the perfect time. But I use Maple, big privacy guy there with Maple. But unfortunately, like I just set up a home server and I had to go to Gemini. Yeah.
Oh, are you doing the Claudebot thing, or
No, I was struggling to set up a new Ubuntu server to like for Home Assistant and image. I've essentially been de-googling my life as much as possible, and now
Oh,
like
cool.
I'm de-googling from Google Photos. And then the last thing, my last tie to Google will be Google Maps because it's just Google Maps is just so powerful. Unfortunately, nonetheless,
Yeah.
I definitely need to look into, especially with this potential life transition, how I can leverage AI in my benefit and help me my writing and other stuff. Cool. Well, I know we should wind down. I know you have to go in a couple minutes. This has been an awesome chat. Definitely didn't think it would go to where it's gone, but I'm happy it has. About
Yeah.
all about AI and I guess just non directly Bitcoin matters, but it's cool to obviously to learn more about you and what you've been doing and hear your story. Um, and yeah, is there anything you'd like to add? Um, anything?
Stay
Anything you want to
optimistic,
say?
fam. The Bitcoiners are like the world doesn't have to fall apart in order for Bitcoin to succeed. I really try and remind people that. The people who are like everything is terrible in macro and the Bitcoiners are going to win because the infinite debt spiral, blah blah blah. It's like you have no control over that, right? Like take care of
Mm,
yourself. The macro will play out how the macro is going to play out, and live a good life. Find your superpower and use Bitcoin as your savings account and trust, verify, it's all gonna work out in 10 years, 20 years. Just give yourself some time. Make sure that you can live long enough to actually see the outcome too. I really
mhm.
think I think you're seeing a lot of people who are optimistic. The most optimistic people about the future are spending so much time on their health because they want to be around for it. So yeah,
Yeah,
those are all things in your control. So focus on that and you're good to go.
nice. Love it. Good message all around. And
Yeah.
I'll include all kinds of links in the description. Is there anywhere in particular you want to send people aside? I guess just
Exit manual, baby. Let me know what you think of
oh
the show.
yeah,
We're cranking them out every Thursday. And
every
yeah, it's a
Thursday.
ton of fun. But
Great.
yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great to chat and see you again. Maybe we'll see each other in person sooner or later. It'd be cool.
You coming down
Uh,
to Vegas?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Oh yeah.
I didn't go
I don't
last
even know
year.
I don't even know that's happening this year, man. There's some crazy stuff going on
Wait, is it
behind the
not
scenes.
What do you mean it's not happening? It's not
I don't
happening.
know. Like
You dropping hot off the
we won't
press?
get into it, but look at the price of NACA and they acquired the company
Oh,
that's running the conference. Like, I don't know.
didn't they just like
They gave everyone free tickets last year.
they
How are they
did?
making any money? I have no idea.
I don't know. Suits, sponsors, selling their soul. I don't know.
Sponsors have money in the bear market, hopefully.
I thought I saw yesterday Naka something happened where they either sold off or they bought something involving David Bailey. I don't really know.
Yeah,
Something just
that's
occurred.
tea. That's tea for another time. I hope it's on. That's all.
Uh,
But I keep
Nah,
hearing murmurings.
I don't think I'll go. It's just it'd be too expensive. Probably it'd be like a
Yeah.
multi-$1,000 weekend. And from what I saw last year, I don't think I'd fully enjoy it. I
I think
went to
it'll be a smaller
Prague.
crowd this year. It'll be small. I like the smaller crowds. So
Okay, that'd be cool then. Because I've only been to two conferences, Plan B, which is where we met in
yeah,
person last year. So I couldn't go this past year. And then Prague, and that was awesome because it was more. Because I
yeah,
feel like at least the big conference is so suity and shitcoiny
yeah,
and about like what's the Apex asset
Yeah.
and like never sell your Bitcoin, bro. And I don't think I'd have a good time. I mean, I would find my people, obviously. Anyway, we'll see. But
Yeah.
that's that. So great. So to the listeners, yeah, I'll put a bunch of links in the description. And yeah, thanks again, Julian, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, thanks
Thanks
again.
for having me, Keith.
Ooh. All right.
Take care,
Bye.
gang.